They'll say you changed when you come back. No, you didn't change. You upgraded into everything they feared you'd become. I stepped away, not because I was weak, not because I was afraid, but because I knew. When you want to become unstoppable, you must first become invisible. You see, people always want noise. They want to tell the world their goals. They want applause before they've even done the work. But me, I walked into the shadows. Not to hide, to build. Let me tell you something important. Stop explaining yourself to those who have never built anything themselves. Stop wasting your breath on people who don't understand discipline, sacrifice, or obsession. Your silence, that's your power. That's your weapon. They'll think you gave up. They'll think you've fallen off. Good. Let them. Because while they laugh, you sharpen. While they watch, you transform. While they wait for you to fail, you become something they will never be ready for. Silence is a source of great strength, not because you avoid the world, but because you own yourself in the process. When I disappeared, I wasn't gone. I was underground. I was sweating in empty rooms. I was pushing myself when nobody saw. I was breaking limits inside my own mind. And when I came back, I didn't come back the same. Listen carefully. You are not here to impress them. You are not here to satisfy their curiosity. You are here to become unrecognizable. And that happens in silence. People will misunderstand your isolation. They'll say you're wasting your time. They'll call you cold, distant, even arrogant. Smile. Say nothing, keep working. Because every time you choose silence over noise, every time you choose training over showing off, every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are shaping a version of yourself that will not need validation. The world measures success by applause, but I measure it by mastery. And mastery, it's born when nobody's watching. It's born in empty gyms, lonely mornings, quiet nights. It's born when you're sitting with your own thoughts, wrestling your own weaknesses, and refusing to quit, even when nobody's looking. So let them forget you. Let them doubt you. Let them bury you in their assumptions. Because when you rise, when you step back into the light, when they finally see what you've become, it will be too late for them to catch up. And you won't need to say a word. Your presence will say everything. I didn't disappear to prove them wrong. I disappeared to prove myself right. And when I returned, I was unstoppable. Now go. Disappear on purpose. Build quietly, return untouchable. Let me tell you something most people will never understand. The hours that change your life are the ones no one sees. Everyone wants the spotlight. Everyone wants the praise, the applause, the recognition. But what they don't realize is that champions are not built under the lights. They are built in the shadows. They are built in the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet spaces when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is posting about it. I became obsessed with the unseen hours, not because it was glamorous, not because anyone cared, but because I knew. That's where power is born. While others were sleeping, I was refining my movements. While they were laughing, I was studying form, precision, intention. While they wasted time, I was carving myself into something sharper, faster, better. You see, the world only notices the outcome. But I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with the sweat that no one applauded, the practice no one praised, the failures no one witnessed. Because that's where the transformation happens. Don't chase recognition, chase mastery, and mastery lives in the unseen hours. Understand this. The difference between you and the people you admire isn't talent. It's what you're doing when no one's around. What you do when nobody's clapping matters more than what you do when they're watching. because the crowd will fade, but your skill stays with you. You want to be faster? Practice when you're tired. You want to be stronger? Train when you feel weak. You want to be mentally untouchable? Push yourself when nobody's expecting anything from you. Most people will never do this. Why? Because it's uncomfortable, because it's lonely, because it's thankless, but that's why it works. I didn't become Bruce Lee on stage. I became Bruce Lee in empty rooms, where the only opponent was my own limits, where the only applause came from the quiet satisfaction of knowing. I had gone further today than I did yesterday. So here's my challenge to you. Become obsessed with the hours no one sees. Make them your home. Fall in love with the grind that has no audience. Because when you emerge, when you step into the world fully sharpened, they will call it talent. But you will know it was discipline. They will say you're gifted, but you will know it was the unseen hours. You think greatness is born in front of cameras? You think strength comes from applause? Let me tell you the truth. It's in the quiet, in the lonely hours, in the dark rooms where nobody knows your name. That's where monsters are made. When you step into the quiet phase, you're stepping into the forge. It's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's not supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to break you. Again and again, until you understand that breaking is how you build. I've been in that place. The place where no one checks on you, where no one asks how you're doing, where no one cheers you on. It's just you, your discipline, and the echo of your own doubt. That's where the magic happens. While they're celebrating small wins, you are carving yourself into something unshakable. While they're showing off, you are bleeding in silence, knowing that every drop of sweat is buying you a new level of power. You see, most people can't survive the quiet phase. They panic when they're unseen. They give up when the attention fades. They need constant validation. But you must become the kind of person who thrives in silence. Because that's where the monsters are made. Not monsters of destruction, but monsters of focus, of discipline, of relentless pursuit. In the quiet, you learn to stop relying on noise. You stop needing approval. You stop craving attention. You start to trust yourself. You start to own your grind. You start to build a foundation so solid, nothing and no one can shake it. I learned this early. If you can master yourself in isolation, there is nothing the world can throw at you that you can't handle. So when you feel forgotten, when you feel invisible, when you feel like the world has moved on without you, good. That's your signal. That's your moment. That's the space where the weak fall apart and the relentless rise. This is the phase where you transform. This is where you go from average to unstoppable. This is where you face your fears, where you embrace the pain, where you tear away everything soft, everything fragile, everything that has been holding you back. Remember, when you walk back into the light, the world will call you gifted, but you will know the truth. You were built in the quiet. You were made in the dark. You were born in the phase where monsters are created. Let me tell you something most people will never understand. Your isolation, your time alone, is sacred. This is not punishment. This is not loneliness. This is your sacred ground, the place where you are reborn. When I pulled away from the world, when I stepped back from the noise, it wasn't because I was weak. It was because I knew if you want to build something extraordinary, you need space. Space to think, space to sharpen, space to listen to the voice inside you that gets drowned out when you're always surrounded by the crowd. Most people fear isolation. They fear missing out. They fear being forgotten. But what they don't see is that isolation is where you become untouchable, because when you step away from the world, you take back your power. When you're isolated, you are no longer reacting to noise. You are no longer chasing validation. You are no longer shaped by opinions, trends, or expectations. You become a weapon forged by your own hands, guided by your own mind. You must protect this phase, guard it like a treasure. Because the world will tempt you to break it. They will pull at you. Come back early, show us your progress, share your journey, prove yourself. But you don't owe them anything. You owe everything to your craft, your purpose, your mission. If they can't reach you, they can't distract you. If they can't pull you back into the noise, they can't slow your growth. Listen, I didn't chase the world. I didn't care to impress the crowds. I cared to master myself, and that meant stepping into silence. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. Because in that sacred space, you will face your true self. You will face your doubts, your fears, your weaknesses. And when you conquer them there, in the quiet, you will never be conquered by the outside world. So protect your isolation, turn off the noise, step back without guilt, honor the solitude, because it's not making you smaller. It's making you dangerous. And when the time comes to return, you won't return as the same person. You'll return sharper, clearer, and so powerful that they won't know how to handle you. You're not disappearing, you're transforming. And that transformation demands sacred space. There's a language in this world that most people will never speak. It's not spoken with words, it's spoken with pain. Pain is the language of the committed. It's the conversation between you and your own limits. It's the test that asks you over and over again, how bad do you want this? How far are you willing to go? When I trained, pain was my constant companion. Not because I enjoyed suffering, but because I understood what it was doing to me. Pain was reshaping me. It was stripping away everything weak, everything soft, everything in me that couldn't survive at the highest level. Most people run from pain. They avoid it, they complain about it. They think pain is punishment, but listen to me, pain is a teacher. It is the master that reveals your hidden strength. When your muscles are burning, when your mind is screaming for rest, when you are standing at the edge of quitting, that's where the real work begins. That's where you stop being average and you start becoming something unstoppable. I didn't pray for an easy life. I didn't wish for shortcuts or comfort. I prayed for strength, for resilience, for the power to keep going when everything inside me wanted to stop. Because here's the truth. If you can't endure pain, you can't hold on to greatness. If you break at the first sign of struggle, you will never break through to the life you want. Pain has a message for you. It's asking, do you love this enough to hurt for it? Do you care enough to bleed for it? Will you show up even when it's brutal, even when it's lonely, even when it feels like no progress is being made? This is why pain is sacred to the committed. It filters out the pretenders. It separates the curious from the relentless. It shapes those who are willing to give everything for the chance to become something more. When you meet pain, don't run, don't curse it, welcome it, because it's the sign that you're entering territory most people will never touch. And when the world sees you rise, they will say you are talented. They will say you are gifted, but you and I both know. You were just the one who didn't run from pain. You were the one who stood there face to face with it and said, "Dash, teach me." Let them forget you. Let them whisper that you've fallen off. Let them believe you've given up. Good. That's your greatest advantage. You see, most people are addicted to being seen. They want to be noticed, praised, validated, every step of the way. They post their progress, they announce their goals, they flash their small wins, because they fear one thing above all, being forgotten. But me, I embraced it. I wanted them to forget me. Because when people forget you, they stop watching you. When they stop watching you, they stop preparing for you. And when they stop preparing for you, you become a storm they never saw coming. There is no power like the power of the underestimated. When you go silent, they will think you're broken. When you disappear, they will think you're done. When you stop explaining, they will assume you have no answers. Let them. Because while they talk, you build. While they celebrate, you sharpen. While they compare and compete, you quietly rise to a level they won't recognize until it's too late. You must learn to love the shadows, to train in the dark, to become obsessed with the work that no one praises, the progress that no one sees. Because when you step back into the light, you will not be the person they remember. You will be someone they can't even understand. Understand this. People only pay attention when you're loud. But transformation happens when you're silent. The more they forget you, the more dangerous you become. I never returned to prove them wrong. I returned because I outgrew their noise. I didn't need their recognition. I needed my own mastery. So stop chasing attention. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to remind the world who you are. Instead, go vanish into your work. Become so sharp, so disciplined, so elevated that when you return, you are not part of their game anymore. They will see you walk back into the room and wonder, where did this person come from? How did they become so powerful? How did we miss this? And you'll smile because you'll know while they were watching each other, you were building alone. And that was the advantage they handed to you. The moment they forgot you. You want mastery? Then stop looking for it in the spotlight. Stop thinking it's born under applause. Stop believing it's handed out to the loudest person in the room. Mastery begins in the shadows, when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when no one cares. That's where the real battle is fought. You see, the world only sees the surface, the speed, the strength, the grace. But what they miss is the hours in the dark. The quiet mornings and the late nights, the broken moments when your body is screaming, your mind is doubting, and you're still there, pushing forward. When I trained, I wasn't just chasing perfection in my punches. I was training my intention, because a perfect strike without intention is just noise. A fast kick without control is just chaos. It's not enough to be good when eyes are on you. You must be excellent when no one is around. In the shadows, you confront yourself. You face your flaws with no escape. You refine your movements with no audience. You discipline your mind with no reward. And this is where mastery is born. Most people can't handle the shadows. They get restless. They want to rush to the stage to show the world what they've got. Even when it's half-baked, half-formed, even when it still crumbles under pressure. But I'll tell you this, if you chase validation too soon, you cheat yourself of greatness. Stay in the shadows until your skills are undeniable. Stay there until your mind is unshakable. Stay there until you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Because when you emerge is when you step into the world, you won't need to shout. Your presence will carry the weight of your preparation. Your actions will speak the language of discipline, your movement, your power, your control. They will reveal everything you built when no one was watching. Mastery isn't luck. It's not talent alone. It's not magic. It's the result of hundreds, thousands of unseen hours, stacked together with quiet, relentless consistency. So when you're in the shadows, don't rush the process. Own it. Sink into it. Fall in love with it. Because the shadows are not your prison. They are your training ground. And when you finally step into the light, you will carry something with you that no crowd can give and no enemy can take away. True, unshakable mastery. When you return, say nothing. Let your presence speak. You see, after all the hours you've poured into the shadows, after all the sacrifices no one saw, after all the nights you were breaking and rebuilding yourself in silence, you will not need to explain. Your walk will carry the weight of your discipline. Your eyes will reflect the battles you fought within. Your movements will reveal the mastery you've earned. And trust me, the world will feel it, even before you say a single word. When I returned, I didn't come back to argue. I didn't return to defend myself. I didn't step forward to say, look at me now. I walked back in knowing I had become something they weren't ready for. And that was enough. You don't need to prove the doubters wrong. You don't need to post your progress or beg for applause. You don't owe the world a speech about where you've been. Because here's the truth. When you carry real power, it speaks without noise. When you carry real mastery, it humbles the room without effort. When you walk in fully sharpened, fully prepared, fully transformed, the same people who once doubted you will fall silent. Let them feel the shift in your presence. Let them sense the difference in your energy. Let your focus, your precision, your calm dominance speak louder than any words ever could. You see, power that needs to announce itself is insecure. But power that moves quietly shakes the world at its foundation. I became Bruce Lee. Not because I demanded the world's respect, but because I commanded it through how I moved, how I fought, how I lived. So when you return, walk with grace, walk with quiet confidence, walk with the patience of someone who no longer needs the approval they once craved. You are no longer here to react. You are here to define. And when they finally notice, when they whisper, look at what they've become, you will smile. Because you will know you didn't come back to be seen. You came back to be unforgettable. You've walked the silent road. You've disappeared with purpose. You've sacrificed the noise, embraced the shadows, faced the pain, and rebuilt yourself in isolation. Now hear me. When you rise again, you are not the same. You are not the one they remember. You are not the one they doubted, mocked, or underestimated. You are the one they can no longer touch. You don't need to explain where you've been. You don't need to prove what you've done. Your presence, your stillness, your strength, your unshakable calm will speak everything they need to know. Remember this, the loudest warrior is often the weakest. The strongest one walks without fear, moves without noise, commands without shouting. You don't rise to be liked. You rise to fulfill your own potential. You rise to embody mastery. You rise because that's what you were born to do. So walk back into this world with your head high, your spirit still, and your mind clear. No revenge, no anger, no explanation, just presence, just power, just the quiet, unstoppable force of someone who became a legend when no one was watching. And when they look at you, when they wonder how you became this, smile gently and let them learn the truth for themselves. The real rise always happens in silence.